I think I've said this before, but I'm really excited. I'm glad that you're watching this video, that you're right here on my first-time homebuyer concierge page. I've spent countless hours working on this page. In fact, years working on this page for you, the first-time homebuyer. See, when I got in the mortgage industry 18 years ago, I was coming out of being a college professor and a college baseball coach. So I was wired. My passion was to teach. I got in the mortgage industry and I saw immediately that neither the mortgage industry or the real estate industry had any part in educating their clients or teaching their clients or making sure they were financially equipped to make the largest financial decision of their lives. And so, although I could go work with repeat clients, which I do, I could go work with higher net worth individuals, which I do, I try to spend the majority of my time working with clients just like you that are just getting their foot in the door in regards to home ownership, because I've seen 25 years later of me investing in real estate, 18 years in the mortgage industry, I've seen what home ownership, what real estate investing can do to your total net worth. And so I do think that there's a process that you need to go through to evaluate whether or not it is a good time for you to jump into home ownership. And so that's what this page is for. I am going to make a big argument for owning real estate. It's changed my life. It's changed my kids' lives, okay? Now, I also believe that there's a right time and place for purchasing real estate. Sometimes it's not the right time, and we'll address that. But for right now, I want to go over a couple of main things. The number one question that I get asked, Dan, how do I know if it's a good time to rent or if it's a good time to buy? And I always start off with if the answer is yes to a few of these initial questions, then it means that it's probably a good time to pursue home ownership. So the first thing that I do is I like to talk about the number one benefit of home ownership, which is leverage, buying a home. Leverage in regards to investing. So think of it this way. If you took $50,000 and you put it in the stock market at 7%, I'm talking like the S&P 500 index at 7%. That's $3,500 in return year over year, okay? So a year later, you'd make $3,500 from that $50,000 investment into the stock market. Now, you take that same $50,000 and you invest it into buying a $600,000 home that you can live in, okay? That $50,000 buying a $600,000, which is like, minimum down. I think the minimum down on that would be like less than 30, but let's just say 50. That $600,000 house is your vehicle. Let's say that home values go up 7%. So you just made $42,000 by buying that $600,000 home using that 50 grand in real estate versus 3,500 in the stock market, right? So I like the component of leverage. The vehicle is $600,000, not 50. So the next question you ask yourself is, all right, how does my current situation look? Do I see myself in this home, in this area, in this job for the next 3 years? I like to use the mile marker of 3 years. If the answer is yes, then let's proceed to the next. Does the monthly payment make sense? So what I do with a lot of my clients is before you even apply for a home loan, I'll give you mortgage options, just like this. So take a look at this real quick. We're gonna look at renting at $2,850 a month. This is a real life scenario versus purchasing at $600, $650, or $700. And I'm just using the minimum 5% down. So your rent was $2,800 a month, but if you buy a $600,000 home, your total mortgage payment almost doubles. It's $4,348 a month, but that is property taxes, homeowners insurance, principal and interest, PMI, private mortgage insurance. If you put down less than 20%, you have to pay that. So look at this. The net monthly payment is actually $3,800 a month after tax incentives. So it's about $1,000 a month net more expensive to own than it is to pay rent. Now, here's the kicker. We scroll down here to the bottom. Let's do a 5-year net worth analysis. You buy that $600,000 home, you're gonna, over 5 years, that's 7% appreciation, you're gonna increase your total net worth by $307,000. So your total net cost for renting is $193,000. Your total net cost for owning a home, a $600,000 home, a mortgage, is $225,000. So about $35,000 more expensive on paper. However, you've raised your total net worth by $307,000 by owning a home. So these are some of the things that I like to talk my clients through. Now, there's an app at nerdwallet.com / like just look up mortgage. I think it's called a rent versus own calculator, rent versus buy calculator, NerdWallet, and it'll come up. And you can plug in your criteria there and it'll show you kind of the break-even point. I like to show that to my clients. Now, there's a couple of other things that I also like to talk about my clients is things that you gotta be aware of by owning a home. I use the 1% rule. So if you buy a $600,000 house, you should have $6,000 set aside for annual maintenance, lawnmower, stuff that you need, tools, maybe a fence, maybe a hot water heater goes out or an appliance goes out, right? And then I also talk about these 5 things that you need to be aware of when you buy a home. Leaky faucets, okay, runny toilets, chippy paint, appliances do have shelf lives, you guys. Number 4, rodents or pest maintenance. And number 5, water-related damages. So we're gonna watch our gutters, we're gonna watch our roof, we're gonna look at our crawl space, we're gonna make sure drainage is pushing water away from the house. These are things to consider when you're out touring homes with your realtor. But up front, you need to be aware of these costs and aware of these things that do come along with the benefits of home ownership. So this is one part. Now, the next video I'm gonna share with you is really how to evaluate a few things when it comes not just renting versus owning, but the total cost of home ownership and a few other things that you want to consider. And I have solutions to those problems with a couple of services that I pay for all my clients. We'll see you on the next video down below.